Okay, all right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. And welcome to this week's Transformation Thursday. And this is week 177. Yes, week 177 of Transformation Thursday. And this evening's guest, I'm so glad we are finally able to make this happen because we've been trying to do this for a while. So tonight we're going to talk about what I call our superpower. Whenever you think that you don't have any kind of power, remember that choice is your superpower. With choice, you can chart, the rest of your life. You can chart out your day to day because you do have the power of choice. So we're going to discuss that this evening. And we have our speaker, Miss Ebony, who's also known as Magical Beginnings on Instagram. So, Miss Ebony, please take it away and let's talk about the power of choice.
Yes, bless everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Um, yeah, choice is a powerful tool that is unfortunately underutilized. We make choices every day, and because we do so, we don't really focus on choices. We move on autopilot a lot of the times. And when we're just trying to survive, and existing in survival mode every day, trying to make bills meet and, trying to make sure we got food on the table and getting to work on time so that way you don't lose your job because you're already not in good standing. Just the hassles of everyday life. We are so used to and trained to just get through the day that we neglect the power in our everyday choices that ultimately help us shape our best versions of life and self. That's definitely an area that I'm overly familiar with. So that's my, what I wanted to discuss with everyone today and share my experience with realizing how big of a role choice plays in my life. Well, in all our lives, but it was the catalyst of actually me becoming a life coach, realizing that, you know, life only sucks if we allow it. So, when we take a deeper look and analyze the things that we do every single day, our habits, our behaviors, our company that we keep, and make better choices in things, we really do sow the seeds for better tomorrows. And I'm an extremely visual person. And for me, that's how I was able to chart out my journey. I did it extremely visually. I imagined life as a garden and analyze what were weeds versus actual flowers and blooming fruits and things that were going to be prosperous for my existence. And I use dandelions as the perfect example of weeds because dandelions are beautiful and they're useful. Like we have so many things in our life that we've become accustomed to that we kind of train ourselves to see the better side of. That's how we cope with it. And they become such an everyday part of our lives that we don't realize that they're becoming a problem and that they're driving us to our misery. I said, with me personally, it was right in my kitchen actually doing dishes, and my anxiety had got so bad to the point where I was constantly breaking dishes. And I don't own glass dishes, not many at least anymore, but that is the repercussion of that. And I was doing dishes and I was so lost in thought, and I dropped the plate. And I remember thinking, I just, well, rather breaking down, like, it's the last plate. And it seemed like I was having a fit over the plate, but realistically, all I could think to myself is my life has gotten so overwhelming to the point where I can't even wash dishes correctly anymore. And I had to really sit back and ask, like, how did this happen to me? Like, how? And when I sat back and really asked myself the question and was honest with myself, which is a quality that I preach to my clients and people that I have the pleasure of having conversation with all the time, that you can't play victim in a situation. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Take a moment and really analyze, like, what did I do to cause this? Or what role did I play in this happening? And when I realized it, I basically was hiding from life. It had got to the point where life was not going my way. We all have our visions of what we think life is going to be like when we grow up, and the plans that we have and the things we want to do. And when I realized that those things weren't coming into fruition after a certain time, I basically hid with work and hid with obligations to others. And it worked for a while. But after a while, I guess once I mentally and emotionally was in a place where I wanted to thrive and no longer survive in life, I realized I had no room to. My entire life was built around doing things and spending time in places with people and things that not necessarily you don't like. Because when people hear the word misery and that your life is, when I tell people, I ask people about their life and I bring up the word miserable, it comes as such a shock. Like, no, 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 I'm not miserable and I'm content. And, it's not exactly perfect. And I don't mean it in a negative way. But realistically, I'm a real black and white kind of person. If you're not happy, you're kind of miserable. It might not be the worst agonizing misery that can be experienced, but if it's not happiness, I don't know what else to call it. And as useful as I was being, and as helpful as I was being, and as much money as I was making, because at this time I was working 2 jobs full time and one covering mandatory overtime all the time. So I was out my house about 19 hours. So it was just to the point where, okay, I want to be happy, but I don't even have the time to be happy. And even if I can make the time, I don't even know what happiness is. And as I focused on my own happiness, and again, this was the catalyst of me getting certified as a life coach. And as I work with clients and I talk with people in the community and, friends and family and just general conversation, it's such a common thing that people are so overwhelmed with the faces of ego, being a mom, being an employee, being a boss, being a student, being so many different parts of self that they get lost in those individual parts and it takes over and they no longer know what makes them happy. Everything is based on someone else. Oh, I'm happy when my family's happy, and I'm happy when um this is taken care of. Okay, those are life situations. Like everyone's, grateful and happy that their family's happy, but that's not a reflection of your personal happiness. And that was my excuse for a good the first maybe 4 years of my 30s. Like, I'm happy because this is taken care of, and I'm happy because people are happy. And realistically, like I said, when that last dish broke, it was like a epiphany. You would have thought my heart broke with the plate. Like, I'm not happy. And content just wasn't enough for me. I didn't want to just be okay with life. I wanted to be happy with life. I didn't want to just survive anymore. I was surviving just fine. My kids were good. I was good. I was good. My mom was good. Life was not bad by any means, but it wasn't the life that I wanted to live. And I think everyone deserves a shot at living their best version of life and being their best version of self. But there's work that comes with it. And that's my goal as a life coach, to help people understand the role that they play in their own happiness. If we sit and allow society to dictate what happiness is, what a good life is, if we allow our family and friends to dictate what's best for us, and it's never really directly. When people say that, they think like, oh no, I don't have people in my ear telling me what I should do. Most of the time, it's just suggestions, and it's that the sly remarks like, oh, you doing that? Oh, but I just always imagined, and and everyone's entitled to what they would like to see from you. But the only thing you're entitled to is what you want to see from yourself. And I had to take a real long, hard look and ask myself, like, what do I really want for self? What makes me happy? And the scariest part about it was, I'll be 100% honest, I had no answer. I had completely immersed myself in helping others and being a support system for others and being just there for everyone else, that I kind of forgot what happiness really was. I wasn't able to identify it. It could have smacked me clear in the face. and I would have just looked like, oh, y'all seen that snack meat? What was that? It was really, really sad. But again, I'm a black and white person. Polarity rules the universe. Where there is sadness, there is joy. And I not only experience that, I embody it now. I create happiness every single day. Does that make me immune to sadness? Of course not. Like, this is life. We live in a physical existence. Things is dense. Matter is a real substance. We're all made out of it. So on a spiritual level, on an energetic level, we're going to experience emotions that coincide with the physical experience that we are living. We're going to feel sadness. We're going to feel pain. We're going to feel disappointment. And we're going to feel all kinds of hurt and letdowns in life. That is part of the experience. The key that I understand now is to not let it rule your day. And it sounds simple enough. And people always say, like, Eb, you such a positive Patty. I am. I work really hard to be happy all the time. Like, it's not an easy job. And that's why most people, myself included, once upon a time, choose misery so easily. It's so much easier to just deal with something in the moment and get it over with and not really concern yourself of the long-term effects. Most of us take jobs because we have kids, we need money. We got bills, we need money. Most people don't take jobs for fulfillment anymore. People don't have their dream careers anymore. They don't take a whim on their dreams. And it's not that they don't want to. Again, when you're in survival mode, when you have to make it, your life depends on it. The people who depend on you, their lives depend on it. You have to really make critical choices. And I understand that and I support that in the moment, but those choices have to have thoughts. If I can go back 10 years from now, 10 years ago, pardon, I just turned 40. If I can go back to my 30-year-old self, I wouldn't tell myself to not make the decisions that I made. I would tell myself to not lose myself in the decisions that I made, to understand that nothing, including happiness, is fixed in this life, that everything is fluid. And I believe that's another big issue when it comes to experiencing happiness. We paint this perfect picture and we solidify it in stone. I'm going to be married by 40, 35, 40. I'm going to have 3 kids. I'm going to live in a house. I'm going to have this really nice car. I'm going to have this really great job. And then when that age comes and goes, and you're still in the projects or you still living with your parents, you haven't had any children yet, you have never fell in love yet, you just haven't had that leap in your career. No matter how hard you're trying, you got your piled in student loans trying to support your career educationally to make sure you're the right person for the job, and now you can't even get that house and that car. And it's like, oh my goodness, my life is over. And I tell people all the time, happiness isn't a destination. We don't get there and we don't and stay there and then life is just happy, happily ever after. What makes you happy today might not make you happy tomorrow. And your idea of happy today might not be your idea of, might not be realistic because of the seeds we sown in the past. Again, being in survival mode. A lot of us today in the current present are in a place where we want change. That's why we log in to things like Transformation Thursday. You know what I mean? We engage in things that are going to support our mental, physical, spiritual, financial growth. We want to be lifted, empowered, and we want to build a community of others who are doing the same. But for most of us, this is a current state. This is a recent state of mind. Some longer than others, but most of us weren't born in thriving, in the mode to thrive. Most of us were born in a struggle to parents who were in a struggle. We were taught struggle. We saw it in our family, our neighbors. You know what I mean? We were told in school that we could be anything. But then at the same time, we were told, oh, well, maybe that major, I'll never forget in college intake when I explained that I wanted to take the double major of astrophysics. And I was told that, a girl of my caliber probably wouldn't do best with that as a double major. And it was like, oh, okay. I didn't realize, that mattered. I thought it was effort and, drive, but okay. We are, and it's sad because hurt people. And again, survival mode isn't new. This is hundreds of years in human civilization at this point. It's been a long time since humanity has had the ability to just relax and enjoy simple pleasures of time and each other. I haven't seen some of my closest friends in years. And it's not that I don't want to see them between the busyness of my life and their life. It's just not a part. It's just not as simple as we would like it to be. So, life is going to throw obstacles at your way. And if you stick in survival mode, if you're hearing this and it sounds like this is still a method of life that you're living in, I really truly urge you, just take a moment and ask yourself, if I could, I'm an extremely visual person, and my whole thing is, if you could, what would? A lot of people don't play with their imagination enough. It's like you're afraid somebody's going to hear your thoughts. Like, oh, well, I can't imagine what life would be like if I wasn't a mom, because that would hurt my kids' feelings. Or I can't imagine if I wasn't married, what, I would be, where I would go, and how I would see the world, because that's disrespectful to my man. No one can hear your thoughts. No one can. Your thoughts are safe long as you don't share them. They're just between you yourself. And so play with your thoughts for a minute, and by no means imagine life lonely, but imagine life in your control. If I didn't have to go to this job every day, what would I be doing with my time? And let that inspire you. Okay, so obviously this is something I want to do. I realized, on a personal note, to leave the using me as an example, if I wasn't overwhelmed with time, I would spend more time crafting. I would spend more time in nature, and I would help a lot more people than I'm doing with the career. And I've always been in some form of customer service, some form of human relations. So I was always helping people. That's just been my natural calling since childhood. But I would be able to help in a larger scale if I wasn't on someone's clock. And when I sat and thought about it, it inspired me. Okay, so how do I get off the clock? I mean, I got to eat. I got kids. I got bills. Again, this is life. We do have the regular things that we have to attend to. Letting my happiness be my goal, fear to take the back burner for just a moment, if only in my mind, allowed me to formulate an entire plan to pursue not just pursue, to acquire and experience my happiness in real time. And it's not okay, this is what's going to make me happy. I'm going to do it and I'll be happy tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. Again, the universe is a very fluid being. No, everything changes. That's the one guarantee we have in life, that nothing is going to stay the same. And as things change, especially things that are out of your nature, because we're going to have people, it's going to come a time when the process of analyzing, again, I'm going to stick with me as the example. So as I'm analyzing what I would like to do with my happiness, again, I had no real idea of what that was. So I started with reverse engineering, in a sense. I don't know what makes me happy, but I know what makes me unhappy. This is again, the visual, looking at my garden and identifying my weeds, not necessarily things that aren't useful in my life. I needed my job, I needed time with family and friends that's beneficial for my mental and emotional health. But I can't be fully consumed with these things the way that I was. So it put me in a powerful position to make choices. What can I do to remove the things that I don't like? Again, being honest with yourself. I'm a big fan of I'm a big writer. I'm not a typer. I'm not really a tech person at all, actually. I love old fashioned pen and paper. So I like to write things down. But for a lot of people don't feel safe writing things down. And I respect that. So if your mind is the safest place, again, no one can read your thoughts. Go through it in your mind. What makes you unhappy? If waking up at 5 a.m. to ride the train for 2 hours to go across from one borough to the next to get the job, to get to work on time, makes you unhappy, consider that. If doing things, the people pleaser syndrome is a really big thing that I went through, and a lot of people, again, talking as a life coach to clients and whatnot, we have this fear of disappointment. And a lot of us unknowingly choose misery through fear, and fear of disappointment is usually the most common avenue of fear that misery is chosen. I don't want to disappoint people. I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to look crazy to people. A lot of people don't fulfill their dreams, not because they don't even have the time, just because to them, the dream isn't valued by others. And to avoid criticism, they lose sight of that. They let it go. They make peace with the fact that, that's just not meant for me. And all those things are choosing misery. As parents, a lot of us don't take vacations because we can't afford to take our children with us, especially parents with multiple children. We don't do a lot of things. We don't find me time. Self-care is a big thing right now. And a lot of people, and a lot of women especially, enjoy the pampering side of self-care. And I know a lot of women who get upset because they can't indulge it. Well, I can't do this, and I can't, go get facials weekly and get keep my hair and my nails done because I have other responsibilities. And the question I like to ask people is, would that actually make you happy? We, again, especially when you've been trained to just survive, we don't really have an idea of happiness. We're on the internet, most of us, 10 hours a day. We're being fed advertisement, whether they're trying to sell us something like a physical product or they're just trying to sell us an idea. Happiness for most people looks identical because, or appears identical at first thought, because it's not even their version of happiness. It's the version that was given to them and implanted in them subconsciously through programming, through friends, through family, through videos, through internet. And it was, I can't even I want to say astronomical, but that's still not even big enough. It was probably the most beneficial thing that I can imagine ever doing for myself, was taking the time. And I don't mean taking a few minutes. I took a few weeks. I want to say close to 4 months, really thinking about it. In every moment that I was awake, with every choice, I was analyzing the choices I was making. How many times I was saying yes to requests during the day, from simple things like, oh, well, can I do someone a favor? Can I run here? Or can I make sure I pick this up when I go to the store? It's little teeny things that we don't even realize that, again, in the long run, they don't add to our happiness. And I'm using extremely light examples because everyone's version of happiness, once it's identified, is going to be completely unique. It's not going to be as identical as it is if I was just to do a poll right now. Most people, when you ask, oh, what would make you happy? Oh, being rich. Oh, having a nice car, having a certain financial career, a position of some kind of power or um, reputation. And those realistically aren't most people's idea of happiness. Most people's idea of happiness has to do with time and freedom and experience, being able to experience real life. And again, choices that we make, taking that second job. And again, pardon me, that's my get ready for bed alarm. I'm staying up late to do this. I'm a very early bird. But yeah, this is important. It's worth staying up because, again, no man is an island. And I went through this, and when I realized how many people went through it in their own versions, just living in absolute, again, misery, and not to belittle anyone's life or experience, and not even to belittle, definitely not to belittle my own, because my amazing. But for a very long time, it really wasn't the life that I wanted to live. It was the life that I felt like I had to live. And if I can go back to when I was in the beginning, when I said a visual, I want to paint the picture as far as how to choose happiness. Because again, happiness is a choice. And just to stretch on that for another minute, a lot of people, when I first say that, like happiness is a choice, people get insulted. A lot of things that challenge our beliefs or that is fearful to what we are comfortable with. Because though a lot of people are not happy with the life that they're living, they're extremely comfortable. And the idea of anything that's going to change their level of comfort, God forbid, cause them to put a different level of effort and work into the change, they're not really, so receptive to. So as a life coach, it's like I have is part of my job to help you understand the severity of and of the situation and not to focus on the words, especially in a day where people use words so casually that we don't even really keep up with the real meaning of it. But anyway, we choose misery so easily. And again, it's usually fear or survival based, not wanting to disappoint anyone but yourself normally. And when pardon, I started literally seeing the daggone garden again. But yeah, going to the garden, if you was to imagine, and if a garden doesn't resonate with you, you can look at it as a closet or, a storage room with boxes. When you really analyze your life, and shadow work is a really scary thing. And as a spiritual life coach, I always tell people, shadow work is beneficial, but it's not for anyone who's not ready. A lot of us aren't ready to look at our lives unbiasedly without judgment. And a lot of us aren't fully able to accept the roles that we either directly played in sowing these seeds that led to misery, or to understand that though they may not, because this is life, and I'm not going to sit there and ever say that everything that happened to you is your fault. That's Some people believe that. I'm not a believer of that. Life happens, things happen, and sometimes you really are at a bad place at a bad time, and you can be a victim to a circumstance. But after the circumstance, you are in full control again, and you have full power of choice to decide how you're going to handle that situation. And a lot of us choose emotion and momentary gratification, just getting out of the situation completely, to be the basis of how we react. And that's sowing a bad seed. Then later on, you realize, these choices that I made, they might have been good for the moment, but, long run, they're not benefiting me at all. When it comes to that, a visual I love is your physical health. A lot of people don't contribute their health problems with their diet. And in this day and age, I find that completely amazing. People would really think like I can eat unhealthy all day and I'm healthy now, like I'm in good health. I just had a physical 6 months ago. My blood pressure's fine. My cholesterol is fine. Everything is fine. So me eating these, preferred foods, these processed snacks, things high in fat and cholesterol, I can eat all this and I'm going to be fine. And then you're fine now, but then 15 years later, 10 years later, you have severe, almost nothing's impossible, but almost impossible to irreverse health issues. And it's like, you we don't look at it like, well, I chose that. A lot of people will sit there and talk about the genetics and, just coincidence, and oh well, this is a result of, being stressed. And mind, body, and soul works together. And if you make choices that are bad for one, it's eventually going to resonate with all of them. And again, when we sit back and we analyze the choices we make, we A lot of it's easy to see after a while, again, when you're unbiased, when you cannot look at things as good or bad, because that's easy to do too, and then that throws you into a negative headspace. You don't want to play the blame game with yourself. You don't want to sit there and look at your life choices like, I effed up, like this was my fault. I did this. You know, the guilt trip isn't going to hurt anybody or help anybody. It's going to hurt you, rather, excuse me, but it's not going to help anybody. So don't even go down that road. Analyze things not as good, not as bad, but as they are. Okay. I made this choice to drop out of college. And as a result, I don't have the degree necessary to take the career that I would like to have. You don't want to be stuck working 2 or 3 minimum wage jobs just to make ends meet. And you also know that you have a specific level of comfort you want to experience during life. And you still have your original aspiration to experience that career. How do you do all of that? You don't blame yourself, well, I dropped out of college, it's too late. No, you start taking baby steps. A lot of people think that when you make change, it has to be drastic, dramatic, fast, and everyone has to be able to see the results instantaneously. No, small steps in the right direction are definitely going to get you where you're going. Life is not a race. I tell everybody, they say tomorrow isn't promised. Then don't worry about it. Like, you have the opportunity now, things you do right now. And that's been the major focus on me reshaping my life to experience happiness on a daily basis. This is what I express to anyone willing to listen. We make choices right now in the present moment that will dictate how our tomorrows go. So if you can identify what makes you happy, or if you're like me and it's kind of hard to realize what makes you happy at this point in time in your life, start with what makes you not happy, the things that bring you discomfort. Envision yourself not 5, 10, 15 years from now, just as your best self. What do you look like from head to toe? What kind of life are you living? Imagine a 24-hour experience as your best self, and hold on to the key aspects. Build on those to allow yourself to formulate a real plan that you can stick to. When it comes to happiness, is not uncommon for people to be unhappy with people. And a lot of the people we're unhappy with are the non-negotiables, I call them. You're born into a family. I'm definitely really big on bloodlines. I don't believe in breaking up families. I find it absolutely tragic when families do break up. But this is life, and everyone in your family is not ideal to your best version of life or self. And because of this, you have to formulate a plan to coexist with them, to keep the spiritual aspect of family open, and to not lose your happiness in the meantime. Not to compromise your happiness in doing so. Unfortunately, for some, that does mean to cut people off, whether it's completely or to only see on holidays and things of that nature. But there's always a way. We always have a choice. And a big part of choosing is, for lack of a better word, being man enough to make the choice. It's so easy to put blame on people or to allow a situation to dictate how you're going to respond. Oh, well, she hit me first. I was supposed to hit her back. What was I supposed to do? Or they stole something from me. They did this. She got me fired. She lied on me. He hurt me. He did this. Okay, you're not them and you can't control what they do. And once they've done it, you have the power of choice. How you respond to anything is going to have a reflection on your tomorrow. I tell everyone all the time, tomorrow's are just reflections of today's, and today's are reflections of yesterday. So if you sit down and you analyze your life today and you find you're unhappy with, I love the 3 P's, your personal, you're unhappy with your physical, you're unhappy with personal, professional, and uh I changed one of them into an F because I didn't like the original word and for some reason it escaped me. But the personal, professional, and yeah, that's what it is. Personal, professional, and physical. Excuse me. Those are 3 areas in life that if we can navigate smoothly, if we can identify a clear idea of what we want in those areas, we can achieve happiness. We have to be, again, man enough to make these decisions. What do you want from your personal life? How do you see yourself experiencing the life that you want personally, whether it's relationships with a spouse, relationships with friends and family, whatever is considered your personal life. What do you want from this? Do you spend too much time with people? Like, I'm a person who loves solitude. Like, I love time to myself. Are you spending too much time with people? Are you not spending enough time with people? Are you spending the right amount of time with the right people? What does your life look like? Because spending time with certain people, spending time with any person, again, it has an influence. We're influenced by people's behaviors, by their speech, by their habits, and the things that their aspirations for themselves as well as us. So, are the people that you're spending time with in alignment for your best self? And if not, who should be taking these places? How can you move things around to where you find time to be around these people? And all of these are not going to be physical people. Sometimes they're going to be mentors via YouTube or, again, an internet community um, such as this. Once you can identify what it looks like to be happy personally, you can go down that road. And it's the same thing financially. Everyone's favorite thing is, I want to be rich. What does rich look like to you? Because everyone don't want a mansion with 13 rooms. Like, who's cleaning all those rooms? That's a lot of mopping and dusting. Like, who has time for this? Are you calculating having a maid? Like, these are things that you have to think about. For some people, rich is just simply, I know me personally, my idea of rich is not cooking when I don't want to have to cook. Simple as that. Like, to me, that's rich. If I can order out from any restaurant at any given time whenever I want, opposed to having to cook a full meal, then I'm doing just fine. Like, we all have our different ideas. That's why I said, when we take our time and really be honest with ourselves, what makes us happy. And like I said, I personally love asking what makes you unhappy even more. Because unfortunately, in a life of survival, especially as a New York, not especially, but yeah, I'm a New Yorker. Especially as a New Yorker, New York is hard. Like, you have to be built to make it here. When you're constantly surviving, happiness usually goes on a back burner. Physical happiness. A lot of people don't consider what physical happiness is. When you have $5 to your name and you're starving, the last thing you're thinking of is, what nutritious meal can I consume? No, you're trying to think, what can I get within my budget? And unfortunately, it's normally something that's not going to sustain your body for the long run. Is it going to provide you with a full sensation to get you through the evening? Probably so. But what is it going to do if your vision of your best self physically is being able to run a mile at 50, being able to bench press 180? The meal you're choosing is not in alignment with your best version of life and self. And again, it's really hard to make the decision that this is gonna, or to come to the realization this is what's gonna make me happy, and then a full-fledged jump into it with no problems instantaneously. Baby steps. Ask yourself, what can I do now to make these changes? What can I do within the next 30 days, the next 6 months? What can I do within the next 12 months to 5 years? There's so many tools that we've been taught on so many different bases that, again, just like with choices, we've been making choices every day since about 3 months old. Once you started choosing what parent you prefer to be held by, what bottle, what nipple preference you like. Choice has been something we've been given for so long that we really don't appreciate the power and authority that we have when making choices. And pardon. And again, when it comes to living your best version of life, being your best version of self, that is what I advocate for that. No one should live a life that they're unhappy with. No one should live a life that's not by their own design. And it's not gonna look like anyone else's. And you have to keep that in mind in real time, because the minute you start comparing, you steal your own joy. Your life is yours. And the things that are going to bring you joy, the things that are going to bring you happiness, the memories that you are going to, that you want to formulate, that are going to be able to bring you inspiration to continue and further the happiness that you're already experiencing, it's only going to come from you. And it comes first by really being honest with yourself and identifying the things that make you happy, not what makes other people happy, not what makes people happy with you, but what genuinely makes you happy. And it's something that we all deserve.
So, what would you say to someone who feels powerless?
Oh, well, I would definitely first ask them, what exactly is powerful if you feel powerless? What is powerful to you, and what does that look like? Again, I'm a very visual person, so I'm very quick to inspire people to envision something. Usually, when we feel powerless, it's because we have a vision already in our mind of what power is, whether it's a person that we admire or a situation that's been overcome. We think that because we haven't accomplished whatever it was that we believe at that moment took away our power, deemed us powerless. And I would be very quick to encourage someone to actually think, well, what is power? What does that mean? And I would hope that while thinking, they would realize that power is an internal force. Power isn't anything that can be actually categorized. It's spirit, it's drive, it's the thing that's deep inside of you that you have to pull on to get through. And then I would gladly remind them that it exists inside of you. It might be buried a little bit deeper during times of sorrow or hardship, but it's definitely something that you were born with and that you're going to die with. No one can ever actually take it from you. You can give it up. Again, this is the power of choice. You can choose to give it up, whether it's momentarily or permanently, but it's definitely yours.
Hmm. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. That was just a question that came to mind.
Plus, thank you.
I see there's a lot of hearts here, a lot of hearts and a lot of likes. And someone said, someone said that this was good advice, and they're definitely agreeing with what you're saying regarding power and choices.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Please share it with someone, because Powerlessness is a feeling that none of us are immune to. Situations get real. Life be lifing. And it's real easy to, again, the same way we choose misery, it's real easy to choose being powerless when something seems bigger than us. So if this resonates with you, whether it's yourself drawing back on my words or it's you regurgitating it to someone who's in need of it, yeah, remind people that power, like everything, it's yours. It's a birthright. We were given it, and only you can give it away. The only way you're powerless in a situation is if you choose to be powerless in it.
Mm, mm. So, um, so how do you take your power back?
Well, again, it's yours. If you want it back, you take it back. You assess your now. You remember then and you focus on what's to come. And that sounds a little, it could sound for some people like, all right, what does that mean? It means the power is in the present moment. We can't do anything about the past, it's already happened. The most you can do is recall it in your mind 1,000 times and warp the memory to, fit whatever perception you want to draw from that. When it comes to our power, we do, especially again in survival mode, we give it away so often to people, to circumstance, to just situations in every different angle. But it's yours. And if you want it, all you have to do is take it back. And when I mean take it back, you look at your present, you analyze your past. Okay, because of this, I'm here. I'm here, but I want to be there, depending on what situation you are in, what outcome you are going through. Again, like it's about being honest with yourself. You have to look at your choices and you have to make ones that are not just best for right now, that survival mode. You have to make choices that are best for your best version of self, that are in alignment with what you truly want. And it's small steps like saying no, like telling someone, I'm going to pass on us hanging out today. Why you don't want to hang out? I mean, you don't have to, first of all, you never have to explain yourself. Your choices are your business. But if you feel so inclined, because I just want to be alone. It's a lot of, I tell people when it comes to honesty is such a powerful thing. And it's kind of hard to be honest with other people when you're so used to people pleasing and again making choices out of fear of losing people, fear of judgment. Practice being honest with yourself first. If you can honestly tell yourself, you know what, I dead don't even want to go to this party tonight. I really don't have nothing to wear. I'm not in the mood to deal with public transportation. I don't really got no money for a cab. But if I don't go, she's gonna have a fit. I'ma still go. If you can recognize, I really don't want to go. I'm only going because I don't want to deal with the sad face of a friend, the disappointing a friend. If you can acknowledge that within yourself, I'm sorry. Serenity. Oh, you got, please take this. I apologize. I was trying to record on my phone, but I keep getting a phone call. Take this whole thing, bring it to your brother, please. Again, life be life. And so it's a matter of being honest with yourself on, again, what makes you happy. If doing something that you don't want to do will not make you happy, again, I'm not telling you don't do it. You have to live with the consequences. You have to look at the options that's available. If I say no, am I gonna do, can you bring it to Mel, please? If I do this, is she gonna be mad at me? If she's gonna be mad at me, how long is that gonna last? What is that gonna do for me? Whatever the situation is, again, I try to use light scenarios that we can all, if we haven't already experienced, we can all understand. But it starts with being truthful with yourself. When you can be honest with yourself that I really don't like this. I'm really not happy with being treated this way, with being ignored this way, with not hearing my voice heard in certain circumstances. Even if you don't share it with the world, you're not ready to do that yet. Just doing it with yourself is a baby step in the right direction. That builds courage, because you're only going to be honest with yourself for so long before you're going to start becoming overly honest with everyone else, more than likely. And it's not a negative thing, it's just the truth, because you're not going to sit there and tell yourself the truth but be lying to other people. You're going to feel like a hypocrite. So it's just going to be a natural progression. So I tell people, start with being truthful with yourself. Be unbiased in your truth. No blame game. No, this was bad, this was good. This is what it is. I either do or I don't. Don't draw blurred lines. Be honest with yourself. I don't want to do this. I do want to do it. Now, if you choose to do it or not, just know you made that choice. But you'll feel so much more, even if it's a choice that you made that you really didn't want to do. I chose to do something I didn't want to do. There's still power in that. You made that choice. It wasn't done out of guilt or obligation or fear that if you don't do it, there's going to be a repercussion towards it.
So basically, it just boils down to fear. It's,
I would say fear is the definite platform. It's a brick house, but fear is definitely the first brick laid in the foundation. We are, we're human beings are communal. We need other people. I love hearing people say, I don't need nobody, because it's always entertaining. You might not need somebody for every aspect of life, but we need people. No one can exist without another human connection, without love, without a conversation, even without a good debate. You know what I mean? Like, we need each other. We thrive better as a society when we have each other to build with. What's the purpose of having a giant castle if no one's going to come and, you know what I mean, cross the moat and sit at the big round table and look at all the beautiful things that we need each other. And because we need each other, again, and I'm not talking about within like the last 10, even 50 years. I mean, over, from what I've been personally looking into, it's been a good 300 years in the making, at the very least, to where we have become fearful of being rejected by society, not even by our family or by our friends, as the small aspects of our lives, but just being outcast. No one wants to be the weird one. No one wants to be the no one wants to be outside of the circle. No one wants to be that person. And because of that, there's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. Because of that, there's a lot of yes men. You agree to things you don't, not just don't want to do, you agree to things you have no knowledge of. We co-sign things all the time that we know we don't have no real position. We never even gave no real thought on. But because it's a group of 5 people and 4 of them are all in consensus with this, you don't want to be the odd man out. Sometimes you have a perfectly different objective view to something and you don't even want to share it because you just don't want to look like you're not in agreement with everyone. Because if I don't agree with them, they might not like me. If they don't like me, I might not have them anymore. And again, when you consider the universe being so fluid, change is everything. And I've personally learned that true love doesn't have attachment. True relationships don't have attachment. If everything is conditioned to us being together, us being a group, then it's fear based, because the minute I do something wrong or outside of what the group has considered to be norm or expected, I face ostracization. I might not be a part of this anymore. So yes, a lot of us unknowingly choose misery out of fear. And again, that's just the social aspect. The financial aspect is a big part of a lot of people's misery. Fear of being the broke friend, fear of not being able to keep up with fashion trends, not being able to send your kid to the best school, not being able to keep your kid looking nice as everyone else is. Again, comparison is the thief of joy. Shout out to Tony Jones. I mean Tori Jones. I can't even say that line without giving props to the person who said it, and it resonates so well. When we compare our lives, our existence, the things that we have to other people, we automatically devalue the things that we have. We no longer see them as worthwhile or as good enough. And things of that nature, comparison, fear of rejection, fear of loneliness, fear of failure is an absolute big one. I don't think I mentioned that all. A lot. No one wants to look dumb. No one wants to put all their money, their life savings, and their house deed up for a windfall, and then they don't have anything. Not just because you don't have anything, because now you got to tell people you don't have nothing. Like, no one wants to be that person. And because no one wants to be that person, most of us end up not being happy in the long run.
Say that last part again about being happy in the long run.
I said, I'm such a talker, it'd be hard to keep up with what I said. I believe I said, no one wants to be that person, the one who put bet it all on black and then red showed up, so to say. No one wants to be that person that banked everything on something and have to tell people, have to look at people and admit that they failed. The fear of failure usually leads us to being not wanting to be that guy, the one who failed, usually leads us to be that one who's unhappy, who's miserable, who's settled, and uses the word content and, I'm okay. What is okay? When you ask someone how they're doing and they tell you, "Oh, I'm okay," and I mean that's such a regular response. We don't really think about what we're saying. What does that mean though? You're okay, so that means you could be better. So something's wrong. Oh, no, 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 nothing's wrong. So then you're not okay. You're good. Like I try my best, and I'm really working on it as I grow older to really pay attention to words. I'm a practitioner of magic. Words are spells. The things we say have so much power, and we have to be careful of the words we say every single day in even the most casual conversations. Just as careful as we have to be with the choices we make, from the time we choose to wake up in the morning to the time we choose to go to bed. If you're waking up at 5 a.m. and you're going to bed at around 2, you're not making a best choice to align with what I'm sure is your best version of self. And I'm sure your best version of self isn't wrinkled and having bone issues and nerve issues because of sleep deprivation for the last 15, 20 years. We have to find a level of moderation to actually enjoy our present, because we can't be focused so solely on the future that we don't experience our present. But we have to be aware that while we're experiencing our present, we're constantly creating our future. Live, laugh, love, have fun, make mistakes. You're never going to learn if you don't make mistakes. I don't care how many books you read. You have to make mistakes, but you have to make sure that while you're living and you're laughing and you're learning and you're making these mistakes, you're making choices that are in alignment with not just your now, but your future self. Because your future self depends on you. A lot of people always say, well, if I can go back and talk to younger me, I like to actually meditate and talk to older me. I've got a lot of guidance from my future version. We have to start taking that into consideration because they're dependent on us. Yes, we owe certain things to our younger selves, especially when it comes to our happiness. But that time, that person has already come and gone. And the person that is waiting, they're really dependent on us and the choices that we make every single day. Especially seeing that so many of our choices, again, are subconscious. I was reading an article a while back. I tried to find it so that way I could cite it for anyone who wanted to read it. It was actually really good, but I'm horrible with things like that. It said that 97% of the decisions we make during our waking day are subconscious, And out of that 97, I believe 82% of those choices, those subconscious choices, are actually dictated by bacteria in our gut. So it's funny, we make choices to eat things that might taste good, but aren't good for us. And because we made that choice, it's like an invader in our body. And now it has control over certain hormones and functions, and it's going to force you to make even poorer choices. When you have the itis, most people won't make the choice to go take a walk and eat. I mean, and get some fresh air and burn off the calories. Again, if you spent all night drinking and smoking, partying on a consistent basis, you're probably not going to make the choice to get up and go to work in the morning, or pull an extra shift if it's necessary, or even to go travel and visit your sick mother who lives a couple of hours away. You don't have the energy for it. It's not that you don't want to do it, but the choices that you made put you in a position to where now it's like, I literally can't even do what I want to do because I made so many choices that weren't in alignment for it.
Miss Lucy, you said, hi Lucy. You said in your comment, yeah, that is deep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm kind of reflecting on that. 'Cause I read how fear changes your biology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you think about it, programming, right? If you're constantly living in a state of fear, it used to be fight or flight. I know when I was growing up in health class, that's what we were taught. Humans respond to uncomfortable or dangerous scenarios with either the fight reflex or with the flight or the fight reflex. Now they're taking into consideration the freeze reflex. Realistically, when fight or flight was actually beneficial to everyday survival of human beings, we were in a different state. We didn't drive, we didn't have 9 to 5 jobs, we didn't have the worries that we had now. We had issues of shelter, like literally building shelter, securing land and things of that nature, staying away from animals if you want to go even further, you know what I mean? Like to prehistoric time when our body's physiology was being fully shaped. Nowadays, most of our fears are anxiety based. Most of us aren't afraid of walking outside and getting attacked by a lion or a bear. Most of us aren't even worried about getting hit by a car. You wait for the red light, you cross it, cross at the corner. There's a crosswalk there. Most cars with a sensible driver is gonna stop. They don't want to hit you. The same way you don't want to get hit. We are consumed with fears that are more mental. If this doesn't happen, then what? Again, fears based on social expectations and acceptance, fears on financial expectations and meeting deadlines, things with our time. And because of that, we're constantly, our hormones, I don't want to say the wrong one. If anyone's listening and know the right one, if I'm wrong, please definitely put it in the comments. I believe it's cortisol, but I might be wrong. But it's constant bursts of hormones that put us in this fight, flight, or freeze state. And the human body is not meant to experience fight, flight, or freeze 10, 20 times a day. When I was in my bad anxiety time, something as simple as opening the mailbox literally would send me into a panic attack. Why? Because I know it's a bill in there and I ain't even got the money for it. So it's like, oh my God, I have to check the mail. I got to know what it says. But now my heart is racing. And literally, like anyone who knows me knows when I say I panic, I literally panic. I'm sweating. My hands are shaking. Like I physically show panic. And we're constantly putting ourselves into that state over things that honestly, when we really sit and think about it, shouldn't even be putting us in a mental wreck to that severity. We ravage our internal organs. Our liver doesn't function properly after a while. You know what I mean? We put stress on our heart, on the valves that carry our blood. We put stress on our brain. So many people discover that they have aneurysms and blood clots and things that are not solely directed towards anxiety, because we focus on stress a lot, but anxiety is just as bad. We're constantly afraid. We're afraid of everything. And because we're constantly afraid, we are internally, we're ravaging our bodies. And if your goal is to live a healthy life, you're not, you have to make better choices. You have to reduce your fear activators. If like with me, perfect example, because I know I see that we getting close to your time. I don't know if you wanted to go over, being that you started late or not, but calendar
No
scheduling.
worries. No worries.
Okay, scheduling was at one point of time a really big thing for me. I had to remove all the clocks out of my house. Like, it was necessary. If I can walk you guys through, I don't own a clock. That's an anxiety trigger for me. I'm really big on freedom and making my own time, doing things on my leisure. So sitting there, having the tick, 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 watching the little hand moves, knowing that I have something I want to do, I have things that I need to do, it messes with me. And this is why self-analyzation, shadow work, while spending time alone is so important, because no one's going to be able to identify every single trigger you have. You can work with a therapist, you can sit down and talk with a close family or friend, and they can help you identify triggers that they observe. But realistically, no one can feel what you feel. No one knows what really causes you to go into these moments of fear and in panic. And when you are in fear and when you are panicking, what kind of choices are you making? We're not making good choices when we're afraid. We're making choices based on survival, and not only, like I said, it's destroying our internal organs, it's putting us on more pathways. I like the word issue. It just opens up more issues to lead to a life that we don't want to live. And my personal goal and my personal hope for everyone listening now, listening later, anyone who's not listening and just going through something in life to where they do feel hopeless, they feel powerless, they feel lost in a sense. You can close off any avenue of existence, your personal existence, that you want at any given time. Will the door shut immediately? No. But if you got your hand on the knob and you're pulling, you're definitely going to close the door. And as you close those doors, always stay open and flexible and willing to open up new doors. We create the life we want to live. Again, it's so easy the lack of self accountability these days is honestly physically sickening for me. Like, no one wants to take responsibility for anything. Everything is someone else's fault. Everything happened because the government did this, somebody did that, somebody didn't do this, somebody didn't do that. But again, things are going to happen. That's what life is about. Once they happen, what did you do? Take responsibility for yourself. Yourself. Learn your triggers. Learn what you're afraid of. Learn what excites you. Learn what brings you joy and learn what brings you misery. And just navigate accordingly. It's not always going to be the easiest thing, but again, small steps in the right direction. If you make one change every day, I know I don't, like, again, going to bed 2 o'clock in the morning, got to get up at 5 to go to work. I know I don't like the entire MTA is insane right now. People getting pushed off tracks, people getting cut. I don't want to fall asleep. I can't afford to get hurt on the train. I have to be able to make it to work so I can take care of my family. Make the choice to go to bed just a half hour earlier. I don't know why you're staying up. Maybe you're staying up working. Maybe you're staying up talking. Maybe you're staying up, binge watching television. I love animes. You might have got caught up rewatching Naruto. I don't know. But you have to make a choice if you don't want to deal with the consequences of the choices that you've been making. You have to be man enough, woman enough. You have to love yourself enough to make the choices No matter how small or how big, if you are strong enough and privileged enough to make the big steps, definitely don't take small steps if you can. Small steps for people who are working on trying something completely new and unthought of. Baby steps work best for those, but some of us, we got a clear picture. Some of us know what makes us happy. We know exactly what our triggers are. Some of us just don't have the incentive to do it, the fear, the motivation or the drive. You have to find it because no one can find it for you. No matter how much someone loves you, no matter how much someone wants the best for you. Again, life is fluid. None of us are promised each other. We have to learn to, again, keep our past in mind, utilize and make the most of our present, and stay focused on our future. And just trust that there's no such thing as a mistake. It's just lessons. One of my famous and favorite sayings. If you learned the lesson, you earned the blessing. Don't be so hard on yourself. Life is hard enough as it is. Don't kick yourself. If you learned something, you're a step closer. I promise you.
Thank you. I just want to kind of read what some of the comments were on Facebook. I mean, you'll see them also, but
Yeah, definitely. I
um,
can't multitask. I'm a horrible techie.
okay, it's not letting me. Okay, wait, it's not letting. Okay, okay. Someone was like tagging someone else because they said we were just talking about what this sister's talking about. Oh my God, that's crazy biology. Someone else has agreed. Oh, that's great, Toya. Someone's Toya said you are making me want to start meditating again. That is great.
Definitely. Feel free to inbox me. I'm a certified life coach as well as meditation teacher. I can definitely give you some tips if you've never meditated before.
That was my thing. Can you tell us, because a lot of people join even like on the Instagram, who who you are, what you do, what kind of classes and workshops you have coming up?
Definitely. So, a proper introduction. My name is Ebony Jefferson. I go by Yours Truly Ruby Red on a lot of platforms. So, if you see that, it's still me. I'm a certified spiritual life coach and a certified meditation teacher, and I'm a practitioner of magic. I offer classes on breath work, meditation for stress relief, for coping, just for expanding on the spiritual side. I offer classes on astral projecting, magic work, energy work, healing. Yeah, anything that has to do with healing the mind, body, and soul, I'm 100% into, and I'm probably offering some kind of, if it's a actual course, like for life coaching, I order journey classes. They're 3-month partnerships where we work together, similar like what I explained to you guys. We work together, we assess your life, we assess what you want out of life and where you are in life, and we devise a plan together to go and get that. Those kind of services go range from finding happiness in your career and your personal life to expanding your talents as far as magic, understanding spiritual talents, and things of that nature.
Okay, and where are you located? And do you have any upcoming classes or workshops or any books or a Facebook page or
So I'm on Facebook under Magical Beginnings. That's my business page. And you can also find me under Ebony Jefferson, spiritual life coach and meditation teacher. That's on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm under Magical Beginnings 35. And I'm under Magical Beginnings as well on TikTok. And as far as classes, I am actually waiting on confirmation from my local precinct. I'm working on a marijuana and meditation class this spring in Lincoln Terrace Park. I will definitely make sure you're aware of that so you can share it. And anyone who's interested, you can either DM me or follow me because I'm always posting and keeping things up. And I have a book and more classes coming up. Like I said, right now the partnerships are open. I actually do still have available spots for spring. April just started. I have 2 more spots. If anyone's interested in working with a spiritual life coach, Like I said, they're 3-month intervals. I try to do them with the seasons. Being a spiritual person, I let the seasons, the days of the week, a lot of things, that everything that has energy plays a role in how I formulate my business. So right now I'm focusing on rebirth, renewal, and regeneration. So if you want to hear more about that, definitely inbox me. Unfortunately, I wasn't prepared to. I don't know why I wasn't prepared to do that. This to speak on it. I would have been more versed, but yeah,
Can you
definitely follow.
repeat your IG? Someone just commented.
So I'm on Instagram under Magical Beginnings 35.
That's with two BEGIN. Oh, it just came up. Okay.
Mhm. And
Yes.
on all other platforms, I'm under Magical Beginnings.
Okay. Magical beginnings.
Hmm.
So the Facebook is magical because I'm always just on your Ebony page.
Yeah, you
But
have
it's
my personal page, and anyone who's want, you can always follow me on my personal page, and through there you'll navigate. 'Cause I have several pages. Magical Beginnings is more of the mental of magic for anyone who's into energy work and things of that nature. And then I have Ebony Jefferson, spiritual life coach and meditation teacher, for people who just want to work with a life coach on aspects of spirit and improving their life through spirituality or meditation classes.
okay. And someone said they would love to read your book.
Oh, you can actually get on. Well, right now, the book that I'm working on, I don't even want to say the title. I'm so excited about it. But I do have 2 books available on Amazon. One is Kitchen Witching. It's a reference on common whole. Again, I'm a magic worker, I'm an energy worker. Common found kitchen items that you can incorporate in your everyday magical practices and health benefits. And I also have my everyday magic book, which is a step by step for beginners who want to either understand magic as a science, or for those of us who practice magic who want to incorporate science into magic. It's considered pseudoscience and hocus pocus, but realistically it's just the other side of actual science. So I have both of those available on Amazon, as well as my Etsy shop, I believe. Yeah, they're both, the digital copies are available on my Etsy shop, and that's www.magicalbeginningshop.com. And if you just search it in Amazon, you can put my name, Ebony Jefferson, or you can even put Magical Beginning Shop in the search bar on Amazon, and my books will pop up, my skincare, hair care, and spiritual baths will pop up. A couple of things will pop up on Amazon actually. So if you have Prime, take advantage and get that 2-day shipping.
So it's Kitchen Witchin, Magical
Uh-huh.
Beginnings ebook. I didn't know about this.
No,
I
I gotta
didn't.
do a better job promoting then.
I did. So it's called, okay, so for anyone, I just Googled Ebony Jefferson in kitchen, and it's Kitchen Witchin. So that's
Kitchen Witchin, yes.
Witchin, WITCHEN,
CHEN.
Magical
Yeah, and again,
Beginnings
that's not
ebook.
it's not a reading book. It's a reference book. It's really good for anyone who wants to know the energetic properties of the common foods that they use every day. You know, sometimes we all say we're cooking with love. You might actually want to infuse a little bit more love in your food, and I have a whole section for that. That'll give you a bunch of items right in your spice cabinet or your refrigerator that'll help you do that. You might have someone that's sick, you know, whether it's physically or emotionally, and you might want to make them something that's going to either soothe their body or soothe their soul. And, you know, that is a perfect reference for things that are already in your kitchen. There's nothing that you never heard of. This is a real easy, beginner friendly. I like to work with beginners in magic and energy work, because a lot of advanced practitioners, they, you know, they're very secretive with things, and they are so practiced and versed at what they do from doing it so long. They tend to not mention basics that are necessary for someone who wants to eventually build their own practice on top of it. So that's a great reference for anyone in need.
Oh, okay, so someone has a question. What is meant by magic? I like definitions. I don't want to assume anything that I've been taught.
Okay, I can't give you the Webster's dictionary version because it's not on top of my head. When I say magic, I speak of energy. This is my personal definition. And if you follow me or choose to follow me, when you see the word magic, this is what I say. This is what I'm referring to. Energy. Nothing in this existence doesn't have an energetic signature. A lot of people think that it has to be natural, trees, plants, humans, organic materials that carry energy. No, a trash can has energy, a broom has energy. Once we think of something, once our imagination formulates an idea, an energetic signature is released into this universe. When I say I'm a practitioner of magic, I am a person who has been blessed to be able to identify energy and has learned to manipulate energy for my favor. So that's what I mean by a practitioner of magic. When I say practice magic, I mean utilizing energy, most commonly the energy of herbs, the energy of stones, the energy of the elements, fire, water, air, earth, to enhance the energy that you're already naturally omitting from your desires, and to direct it to make the issues. Life, there's no one role for our future. There are countless roles. Some are closing, some are opening. It's a constant rotation. I say magic as to a means of opening more doors that are in your favor and closing the ones that aren't. So that way, again, my whole goal for myself is my goal for everyone, to live your best version of life and self. And energy work, magic is a very useful, beneficial, and honestly very fun way to create your destiny.
Hmm. Create your destiny.
Mhm.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. The energy part, that's gonna have to be another. Oh, okay. You're welcome. Someone says thank you for the explanation.
Thank you for the question. I appreciate you.
Trying to see, there was some other comment up here, but it's not letting me it's not letting me go back. Yeah, it's not letting me go back to see them. So you said not just the energy and herbs, but the energy and other things.
In everything. Once you create something, and you there's power in words. You create something. The first thing we do is name it. Something has to have a name. A cup, a lighter, a garbage. We give it a name and it has a purpose. That's when you understand universal law. That's part of oneness. It's no different from you. It exists the same way you exist. I'm a big advocate for animals. And a lot of people don't realize, they think, oh, well, animals don't have feelings, animals don't have consciousness, animals don't care. They definitely care. They definitely feel anything. That I'm not saying that a garbage can feels, but I'm saying that because it was created, because it has a purpose, because it has a recognition in its life through a name, it has an energetic signature. The person who created it gave it that signature. I'm a big believer that we are our own gods. We create things all the time. And as we create and we destroy all the time. And the things that we create, no matter how seemingly mundane they are, they're now a part of this existence. And once something is a part of this existence, it can't be removed. And when it comes to magic, my thing is, if it exists, I exist. We're one. If I can utilize you to make my life better and incorporate you in some kind of way, I'm definitely going to do it. It's no different from using money to buy something that you need. You have money, you use it. If I have, let's say, perfect example, my healing stones, I keep stones close. All stones have different purposes, different energetic signatures. Clear quartz is a very familiar stone for most people. It's an amplifying stone. So if you know it's a day where you're energetically low, you're not feeling your best physically, mentally, emotionally, but you do have a big day ahead of you. You know what I mean? You are expected to show up and show out for whatever the day has lined up for you, but you just don't have that in you. You can take something as simple as a stone, and you can literally speak to it and tell it. Again, when it comes to, and this is actually a natural item, so it's not like talking to a garbage can. There is an actual composition of the stone that can pick up on the vibrations from your voice, but you can realistically ask the stone to lend you its strength and to give you the energy you need to get through the day. Tuck the stone into your bra and carry out through your day. And by the end of the day, you're going to realize that you literally absorbed some of the energy.
I'm still here. Just had to do some moving around here.
Oh, no worries.
Okay, so al would you say so alchemy is also another name for magic?
Alchemy is a form of magic. If I'm correct, by definition, alchemy is transmutation of substance and matter. I think it's more of physically changing something to something. But again, when you allow yourself to have control over, or to, to take things into a personal scope, I look at alchemy as more than just being able to transmute one physical item into another. I perform alchemy all the time with energy. I had, it was a perfect example. I didn't start off this morning with a good day. I've been in astro all week when I slept. So I have not been in dreamland. I've been in astro. So I've been waking up physically exhausted because my body is resting, but my brain is literally in another dimension. So I haven't been sleeping well, and just things around the house. I knew that we were going to go live. I'm not the biggest fan of live. So again, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. The support is amazing. This is really a lot for me. So, I already had the anxiety behind going live, plus my day-to-day non-negotiables. This is life. I run a business. I have children. I homeschool. I had things that I have to do. So me being a little apprehensive or worried and, focused on what I have to do with my day. Once I caught myself, this is why I say things are going to happen all the time. The power is in the realization, oh shoot, I'm nervous. I'm anxious. I have to calm down. I need to get myself in the right place mentally, physically, to where not only I can make it through the interview, where I can deliver the message. Making it through the interview or through the program is just survival. I actually want to help. I want to, if I can resonate with one person, that's what I need to do. I need to make sure that my words are clear, that my words are meaningful, that I'm speaking from experience, from observation, and from my heart genuinely, so that way it can be received as well. So I threw my headphones on. Nothing makes me feel, more ready for anything than music. So I spent a good 2 hours with my music on, took a nice walk, handled what I had to handle. And the next thing I knew, it was almost time for us to do what we got to do. And now I'm not worried about anything. Actually, I'm ready. I'm focused. I transmuted that nervous energy. I took what was not serving me, what was not in alignment for my best version of self, and I turned it into something else. I played my music. I handled what I had to handle. I cooked. I laid out my lesson plan. I could have took that energy and sat down and worried and bit off my fingernails that are already, I keep breaking by accident. I could have sat there and rewrote my main points a million times and tried to have them perfected, but I chose to take it and make it work for me. And yeah, as a result, when we do in this video, I have nothing else to do but sit and relax, because I took nervous energy and transmuted it into progressive, positive energy and got a lot done during the day.
Well,
So yeah, that's, alchemy. That's alchemy for me, not just physical substance, but transmuting even energy from one to another.
Well, I want to echo what Lucy said, that you're doing wonderful on this live, and we so appreciate it, because the things that you have been saying, I'm like, I didn't know you did all of that. I'm just used to seeing, the scrubs and the herbs and stuff, and I'm like, oh, we could have, taken this to a whole other level. So, I'm
Yeah, I
definitely.
have to do better with promoting not just products and stuff like that, but promoting the way that I help. as a life coach, so much of what I do is personal with people, you know, so it's like I still haven't found the balance of what to share and how to share it, where I can help people but without violating someone's trust. So I'm working on that.
Okay, definitely understood. And where are you located?
I'm in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
Yes,
I think
New
I
York.
think that just made a lot of people happy because
Yes, Brooklyn.
so they can reach out to you like for consultations and discussions.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay. Are there any final things that you want to say to us about our superpower, reminding us that we have a superpower and how we can empower our biology?
Um, yes, I just want to say in closing that you have the power of choice. There's nothing or no one that can control you. When it comes to making a decision, stay firm and stay truthful to yourself and allow what comes after to come. Don't be afraid of the what ifs. Stay confident in your this is in alignment with what I need. Even if it comes to sacrificing things that you're so comfortable with, that you're so familiar with in your everyday life, the people, the places, the things that we've become so attached to. Be honest with yourself. Weed out the bad seeds, plant new ones, and water your garden accordingly. I think that would be it.
Water your garden accordingly. Okay, I think that's a perfect way to end it. Thank you. This was wonderful. This was so
Thank you. I enjoyed this so much. And I didn't
yes.
sweat out my clothes. I'm proud of me.
I love it. You were just so casual. I
Oh,
love it. So, as a reminder, everyone, this is Miss Ebony Jefferson of Magical Beginnings. You can find her on Instagram. It's Magical Beginnings, what, 3 6?
3-5.
Magical Beginnings 3 5 and Ebony Jefferson on Facebook, and she has a book which I didn't even know about. It's called Kitchen Witchin, and you can find that on Amazon. And we'll definitely be having her return to have another conversation about energy. But and she's in
I look
Brooklyn. Just
forward
letting you
to
know. She's in Brooklyn for all of our East Coast people, our New Yorkers. So she's right here. Okay. So before we close, I just want to say like my commercials. As you can see in my background, in 2 weeks, actually just a little more than a week, the 13th is our Know Your Worth, I Am Not My Past inner empowerment event. We're super excited about that. That's going to be here in the Bronx at the East Bronx Academy for the Future. And save the date for Saturday, May 18th, the Boogie Down Bronx Book and Writing Fair. I did a post today. We have another author who's going to be there. So we want authors there. If you wrote a book, be there because we want people to have their book signings there and meet people who love books. Because this event is all about books, people who love books, and the art of writing. And also in June, we have the third Soul of a Man event coming up. So I'll be posting more updates, but we will be doing the Soul of a Man event. We want the brothers there. We want the youth there. Bring your sons, your grandsons, your nephews, your neighbors across the street. We want to see the place filled with men on that day. We want to see the fellas there because the fellas, we absolutely need healing as well. Thank
yeah.
you, Miss Ebony. Thank you so
Thank
much. I'm
you
going to
for
talk
your
with you
time. I
about
appreciated
having you
this.
here again.
Definitely.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for watching. As always, this was week 177 of Transformation Thursday. It's every Thursday, I don't know, 7:30. Just keep watching. Eventually I'll be on. No, really. I mean, I had to stop saying, oh, it's gonna be 7:15 because life happens. And
Life
then,
be life.
Yeah, so like just keep watching. You'll get the notification that I've gone live. And also you can see this on Facebook and it will be also on Instagram. Okay, so in closing, I'd like to always remind you if no one has told you today or this week to remember that you are a spark of the divine. Okay, everyone, see you next week.
Have a great one, everyone. Thanks for tuning
Okay,
in.
okay, take care.